We all those people who are just good at everything. For some reason or another, they just can do it all, and their achievements seem like they're out of reach of ordinary people like you and me. Well, I have some good news for you guys today. These people aren't any better than you, and they aren't fundamentally different from you. They've just mastered an important skill I want to teach you about today. What sets these people apart is that they've mastered the skill of learning how to learn. And today, I want to help you guys with the same thing. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Number one, that's super lame, and number two, you can't even do that. I hate to break it to you, but you'd actually be wrong on both counts. Think of learning like any other thing you do. With any other skill, consistent practice makes you better at that specific thing. And the same is true with learning. And by learning, I don't just mean school stuff like reading, math, and science. I mean anything. Surfing, guitar, painting. Every new thing you learn makes you just a little bit better at learning. And I'll prove it to you first by showing you what's going on in the brain when you learn something new and why this matters. So to understand why learning is a skill we can improve upon, we need to understand what really happens in the brain when you learn something new. Let's use a little example. You guys like basketball? Yeah. You guys like basketball? Do you remember the first shots you ever took? How'd they go? Pretty bad, bro. Yeah. Me too. So when you were taking those first shots at the hoop, all the neurons that make up your brain were actually forming new connections with each other that act as pathways for brain signals. Now, every time that you want to take a shot at the hoop, your brain will send a signal down this pathway that basically tells your body what to do to shoot the basketball right. Well, at first, these pathways are more like sketchy, overgrown side trails that take forever to get through and sometimes don't even end up in the right place. This is why your first shots usually didn't go so well, but as you practice more and more, these pathways get faster and faster and better until they're pretty reliable and you're making most of your shots. So why does this mean that you really can learn how to learn? Well, the answer lies in the way that these pathways build off of each other. When you build that pathway for basketball, you acquired these valuable hand-eye coordination, depth perception, and fine motor skills that translate over to other skills like ping pong or volleyball, let's say. Basically giving you a baseline to work off of when you learn these skills. Think of it like, instead of having to build a whole other pathway for these skills, all you have to do is build little side pathways off the ones you already have. And what's really fascinating is that this same effect can be seen between skills that seem totally unrelated to each other. For example, studies have shown that acquiring musical skills can actually make it easier to learn another language, and playing video games can help reduce mistakes in some kinds of surgeries. What this means is that the more you learn, the easier it is to learn more. Think of your brain like a toolbox, with everything you learn being like a new tool in that toolbox. The more you learn, the more tools you have in your toolbox, making it easier for your brain to overcome the next challenge that you throw at it, and helping you learn more even easier. Essentially, you're learning how to learn. So what does this mean for you guys right now? Now, you're getting close to that sign of life when more and more pressure starts to come from coaches, teachers, and friends, and parents to specialize in one thing and drop other interests that you just don't have time for. Now, this seems like it would make sense. I mean, if you wanted to be the best soccer player you could be, you'd think that spending all your time on soccer and not doing anything else is the best way to go. But it turns out that this actually isn't true. Let's take the story of Roger Federer, for example. He's arguably the greatest tennis player of all time, but as a kid, he played pretty much every sport imaginable, ranging from badminton to swimming to wrestling to basketball, just to name a few. To this day, he cites the wide range of sports he played as a kid as being a major factor in his later success in tennis, and encourages young athletes like y'all to branch out and try as many different sports as they can. And he's not the only one. Nobel Prize-winning scientists are actually almost 3 times more likely than other scientists to have a significant other creative side hobby. And elite athletes, on average, played almost 4 sports before age 15, and actually had less hours of deliberate practice on their sports than their near elite counterparts. All this goes to say that now is not the time for you guys to specialize and drop all of their interests. Now is the time for y'all to branch out and try as many different things as possible, especially with you guys going to middle school so soon. I know it can definitely feel scary at sometimes, and I felt the same way too when I was your age. But I can personally tell you that my decisions to branch out were some of the best I ever made. When I was going into middle school, I loved playing trombone. I was sure that I wanted to stick with band all the way through high school. I also loved swimming and hoped to someday swim for the high school team. However, as I went through middle school, I started exploring new things. My friend got me roped into joining the cross-country and track scene, and I picked up my dad's guitar and started learning. Going into high school, I decided to branch out and pivot to cross-country and guitar instead of sticking to what I knew and continuing with trombone and swimming. Pretty soon, guitar led to singing, and I ended up in choir and loved it. Now, I'm the varsity captain of the cross-country team and part of the top part of Plano East, and I'm so grateful that I chose to branch out instead of sticking to what I knew. If I hadn't said yes to some things that felt pretty scary at the time, I never would have found out that I loved and was good at these things. Those scary moments totally paid off. Now, the coolest thing was being able to see how the skills that I learned previously helped me to learn the next things I was trying to do. My musical experience that I gained while playing trombone helped me to learn how to sing and play guitar way easier. And the endurance that I built up while swimming helped me progress a lot faster on the track. I used to wish that I'd been one of those people who'd been running since they were 5 or singing since they were 3. But what I didn't realize was that all the skills I'd learned in the past interconnected to give me a unique style and perspective on the things I was learning now. My singing style is heavily influenced by my trombone and guitar experience. It gives me a more unique style than some of my friends who've been singing for a lot longer. What I thought was my biggest weakness ended up being my greatest strength. And the same can be true for all of you guys. Don't be afraid to say yes to something new, and know that taking a break from one thing to pursue another isn't quitting, it's growing. As you guys continuously learn how to learn by constantly learning new things, the things that you've learned in the past will propel you forward to the next things that you want to do. And all these skills will interconnect to give you a valuable and unique way of solving problems and looking at the world. I want to close with a quote by Albert Einstein. He said, "I have no special talent, I'm only passionately curious." Think about what a little bit of curiosity could do for you. I want all of you guys to go home today and learn one new thing, just one. But don't stop there. In fact, don't ever stop. Stay relentlessly curious throughout your entire life, and I promise your life will be all the better for it. Thank you.